I thought it would be fun to show you guys the impact the 3DR Solo had on Michael Bay when it was first introduced to him. Not only did he use it for his next 3 movies, but he was so inspired by the drone and what it did for him with a lot of his shots in his movies that he actually made a digital rendition of it and imposed it in his movie through CGI to save the world. So he actually was so impressed with the 3DR Solo that he used it in one of his movies to save the world.
Daddy! Drone activated!
Back, Turtle! 1,000 times stronger!
Rolling, roll cameras, action drone.
With Solo, we set out to make the world's first drone that would make even beginner drone pilots look like they shot their videos on a Hollywood film set. But could Solo actually be used to capture footage for a big-budget Hollywood film? This summer, we visited Michael Bay on the set of 13 Hours to find out. With as busy as Michael is on set, I figured we'd get the chance to show off Solo to him, get an idea about what he liked and what he didn't like about the product, and get some great footage while we're down there. But then, Michael and the rest of his crew were so impressed with the shots Solo was getting during our initial test flights that we ended up on the call sheet for the next 3 nights. It was truly a rewarding experience to see such an accomplished filmmaker be so impressed by Solo. It's apparent that at the root of his love for making movies is a love for creativity, for pushing the limits of what's possible and bringing his vision to reality. And of course that includes filmmaking technology and innovation. Michael is one of the most discerning and passionate directors I've had the fortune of working with over the years. He's no more likely to tell you that he likes something than he is to tell you how much he hates it. I really wanted to get his take on Solo before we started shipping it to the world. Solo's smart shot technology really impressed him. It's the first drone that allows the storyteller to quickly and easily define the exact shot they're looking for and then simply press play.
So the amazing thing about this drone that even the professional drones that we shoot with don't have is this cable cam function, which is amazing. All right, we got 15 minutes of sun. I'm shooting my first cable cam Solo.
What do you think?
I love it. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun.
So of course, in true Michael Bay fashion, the very first thing for us to shoot was one of the most complex things I'd ever tried on a movie set. Basically, when this mortar shell comes in and hits the top of a building, it has this giant explosion that sends all this debris flying up into the air, including a family photo belonging to one of the soldiers that drifts back down on top of the wreckage. Solo's orbit smart shot came to mind immediately. I could set my center point on the roof, knowing that the photograph would land there, and by doing this, no matter where I put Solo, the camera would always be locked onto that spot. Then I could control the altitude and the radius of my orbit as the explosion took place to recreate that spiraling, floating feeling from the animatic. This level of nimble and fine-grained camera movement and articulation is nearly impossible with any other type of film equipment. Even the big, complex camera cranes that they had on set wouldn't be able to move around like they wanted. Also, Solo's small size was a factor. Getting a shot like this so close to a large explosion and the actors on set with a larger camera drone would have been way too risky. With Solo, it was simple. So on our last night there, Michael takes me out to this field with these concrete archways and asks, what kind of cool drone shot can you get here? I tell him because Solo's so small, I could probably fly it between the tops of the grass and the bottom of the archways, creating a kind of cool pushing in effect. Michael likes the idea and says he'll have his guys set up the shot. Little did I know, that meant there was going to be 75 explosive charges placed on these archways and AK-47 welding soldiers standing along the path, this very tight path that I was supposed to fly Solo down. So basically, Michael wants us to fly between the grass here and the columns, and you can see there's explosive charges set up all along the way. So as we're flying, it's going to be big 50 caliber gunshots hitting this concrete. So hopefully the drone will survive it. And luckily Solo is nice and small, unlike some of these other really big drones. So you can fit them in these really tight spaces, and should end up being a really cool shot. We did a couple test runs of it. It looks really great. So, we'll see what happens. 5 hours later, when we went back out to the field to get the shot at 3 o'clock in the morning, I quickly noticed that not only were there about 150 cast crew and firemen out there, but they had also set up a B unit camera for the shot. Now take that in for a second. There was a B camera set up that cost well north of $100,000 as a backup to Solo, a $1,000 drone carrying a GoPro. Now I've always enjoyed the rush of high pressure situations, but this was a whole new level. Once they started the sequence of explosions, there would be no going back. We had exactly one try to get the shot. Staying calm in a high-pressure situation like this requires pushing all the negative thoughts out of my head and just focusing on exactly the outcome we were all looking for, and then just let it go and have a good time. Luckily, everything worked flawlessly, and we got a dynamic and immersive shot that no other equipment could have imitated. It was easily the most amazing drone shot I've ever been part of.
And 3, 2, 1, go!
Michael Bay is a household name because he makes some of the biggest and most successful movies out there. It was incredibly inspiring to watch him in his element. This is a guy that sees more spectacular explosions in a week of filming than most of us will in a lifetime. And after every single one, his eyes are still filled with this youthful excitement, just as if he were a kid blowing up a firecracker for the first time. It's really the same way I feel about my relationship with drone technology. Every time I get to fly, whether it's in the backyard with my son or on a giant film set, I get to recreate that childlike feeling of pure joy as I witness the magic of a flying camera floating through the air and giving you the eyes of a bird. There's really nothing else like it. Woo! Yeah, you get one shot at that. And now with Solo, I get to see that same expression of witnessing magic on people's faces all over the world as they watch Solo do its first smart shot. And when I see that same expression on Michael Bay's face, I'm convinced we've done something really special with Solo.